we did it. Hi.
Good
Oh my
morning.
God. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Okay. Good to
How are
see you.
you?
Thank you so much for doing this. I am so great. I'm obsessed with you. I have so much
It's
to learn
mutual.
from you. Thank you. I have so much to learn from you. Watching you talk about what it's not intentional incompetence. What do you call it?
Weaponized
Oh,
incompetence.
bitch. Yes, weaponized incompetence. And so it's just really opened my eyes, mostly for my own personal growth work, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've fallen for it. I've been indoctrinated to it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so the reason I wanted to talk is because I just wanted you to answer my questions. And so thank you for being so willing. Okay, so um, how this came to be is I I've heard a couple things recently. So one of them was um, a friend of mine actually talking about them getting corona, and then her kind of, just really empathizing with him and saying like, oh, like men are such babies about this, and so I had to do all this other stuff. Meanwhile, she also had the virus. Meanwhile, she was also sick. and and then just histories of clients just through the years, hearing different ones when they got sick, they were punished, ignored. The spouse, let's just say, white men, would would be mean to them, resent them, because two things are happening. One, they have an expectation of, um, wait, why aren't you taking care of me like you usually do? They're starting to see the invisible work. They're starting to see, oh shit, I have to make my own breakfast. Oh shit, I have to take the kids to school. Oh shit, I have to do. So they're angry about that. And then they're also doing the weaponized incompetence, was like, I don't know how to be a caregiver. Where's
Uh-huh.
the Tylenol? What do you mean? Give me the list. I love when you talk about, again, I'm getting just starting to learn all your words, but
Yeah.
the three things, like the execution part, like we have to also do. Why do I have to make the list? Do you know? Please just
Right.
take fucking care of me. Google that shit.
Right.
So anyway, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. I posed the question after you were talking to me. I posed the question to my followers. And I asked my husband about it too. And it's very interesting. So the terms I use are actually I think they're law terms, but they're from the book Fair Play, which was designed by Eve Rodsky, and it's
Okay,
conception, planning, and execution.
got it.
So noticing that something needs to be done, planning for how it's going to happen, and then actually doing it. And all that mental labor is like what you're saying, how I didn't know that the kids needed to go at 8. What do you did not tell me.
Right. Where are their shoes? You know,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
On the floor somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
Open your eyes.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And I think it's really interesting because like my husband and I have our dynamic has changed very much based on who's working more at any given time. And
Yeah.
something that we've worked on that I think makes our situation with illness good is that he has had an experience, even if he's working longer hours than I am, where he knows how to do every single task completely because he's
Yes.
had the time to learn it.
Right.
So even if it's something that I usually do, he's got enough understanding of it to be like, no, I got this. Don't, she's down for the count. I got this.
Right.
And I don't have to manage it from the bed or,
God.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had this experience where so many women come to my comments and they're like, I'm so tired. It's easier for me to just, even if I'm sick, just get up and do it because I'm going to have to direct you.
Totally. Totally. Like, I don't have the mental capacity even to explain how the machine works. It's just, I do it by muscle memory. So let me just do it.
Yeah. And that's what I
Yeah,
got in my comments was mostly women were like, if I'm sick, it doesn't matter how sick I am. I have to keep going because the daily grind things are going to keep happening and it's so much work for me mentally to explain it. My muscle memory is going to be better than having to explain it.
exactly. The other thing that's coming up for me is, so we get sick or we have a surgery or whatever. And then even if we decide not to teach how to do household chores or how to teach where the pharmacy is or whatever, then when we start getting better, which we will still be super tired, super fragile, super vulnerable, now not only do we have our regular life to get back to, but now we have the backlog of chores. Now we have,
Oh,
8 loads of laundry. Now we have, like all the grime that is like, just like, you know what I'm talking about? Something on the counter that's sticky, that's now like 10 times harder to remove than it would have been if you just wiped it off. And so, and it's just fucking exhausting.
yeah. And you know that there's this creator on this app who's so sweet. She's that tiny Southern woman. Um, I think she calls everyone like her little chickadees or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've seen her before.
She she got COVID recently and was down for the count and said on here was like, "Oh, my husband just is a total baby and cannot do anything." And people came for her in the comments or for her husband.
Yes.
Um, and she was like, "No,
They've
I
been watching
spoil him."
you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I tell you, if this happened, I mean, it has happened over the years, again, as me, the therapist, and I would just buy into it. Yeah, yeah, men are busy because I'm also indoctrinated. But once I started seeing you, I was like, wait a minute, this is a huge piece that I'm unconscious about. And it's not just a dysfunctional pattern. It could be part of it. It could be part of the passive aggression. It could be a part of the bait and switch. I'll take such good care of you, no worries. And then they don't, so it could be also super dysfunctional red flag shit mixed up in there. But there was a whole layer that you've taught me that I have missed, which is the indoctrination to infantilizing men.
Yeah, and I have had minor criticism about like especially if I get on right-wing TikTok on accident, I get people who see
Oh,
one
honey,
video
I'm
and they're
so
like
sorry. Text me, I'll get you off. Oh, what a terrible thing.
it's sometimes it's like, she's a man hater. And even, in my most recent one, I was like, men don't need women, or other way around, women don't need men. Um, and I do think it goes the other way too a little bit, but it's this day and age, I can work. I don't need someone to be around unless you enrich my life. And when we round down men to just being a job or not being incredible caregivers, we are cutting them down. We're holding them back from who they are. Like my husband is a way better caregiver than I am. It comes very naturally to him. He can get down on the ground and play with them. He wants to talk about Legos and blocks and like plays with the things with creativity. I want nothing to do with it. And it's I'm actually reading like a bunch of Audre Lorde right
Oh,
now. And the
so
way
good.
she talks about raising her son is
Mm.
so eye-opening to me.
Oh,
And I want to be like,
beautiful.
it's we love men. We love men to show up how they are, and we don't need to treat them like babies because they're not.
Right, and it's condescending, really. Like it's really a job, but it's a job that keeps us again indoctrinated, unconscious, falling for it. I remember one time I came home from my feminist class. I took minor in women's studies, no problem, thank you. Material brag. And I came home and I was like, my chest, like and I was talking to my husband and I'm like, the psychological burden of, I know all the shoe sizes of the kids, I know that when their next doctor's appointment, like the psychological burden. And I was like going to town, and it's true. And then he says, and the psychological burden of, you don't know where the tax information is, and the psychological burden. And I'm like, okay, bitch, like, fine, okay, you're right, you're right. But the reason I was so, but the thing is, I already appreciated him for those things, you know what I mean? And so, like, he does, when we're in a partnership with somebody, whoever it is, whatever gender, they are carrying some kind of psychological burden for the family, and so am I. And so for me, it it's making the invisible visible,
Yeah.
making that's what it was for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's true, I am carrying a lot of this stuff that was invisible to me. But I
Yeah.
think we already see the things, the psychological burden of what our partner does already, like we kind of see and appreciate it. But for us, um so I'm 100% with you. I adore some men, and I mean, I don't hate men
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
hate them at all.
yeah.
And but it's just like, could we get a chance? Could we have a
Mhm.
try at this? Like, can we? Um, but I did want to share with you. I'm going to throw my husband under. He carries so much. He's amazing. Like, he's whatever. He's probably a better partner than I am in the end, if we looked at everything. But but I had to laugh when I saw one of your TikToks, and I remember, so my dog is here, and sometimes I teach classes live, and she can be a distraction during that stuff. And so I called to my husband. She's our dog, but she's my dog, so she's always near me. And I'm on the bottom floor, and he's on the third floor. And I said, hey, can you bring the dog upstairs? And he literally said, how? And I'm like, sir, you have two master's degrees. Like, you have two, like, I think you can use your problem solving skills to figure it out, but he truly, like, went to how. And I just was like, but again, I'm saying the same thing for me. Like, I'm sure, like, I heard a podcast the other day. The person says 50% of why I'm married to my husband is tech support. And
Oh,
so, like, look, like, it's just like, like, the first thing I go to see him, like, this isn't working. And he's like, did you reboot it? Fuck, I forgot to,
yeah.
so
Plug it in,
I'm
unplug it.
owning my part as well. But I do think it's helpful to look at all of this through your lens, because it's making me smarter. So I truly appreciate the work. I mean, to me, it's groundbreaking. I've never heard
Uh,
any of this stuff before.
I such a compliment. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, so I want to like touch back on the sickness thing and this invisible
Yes,
labor that
please,
you're talking about, because
please.
it sounds like from the feedback that I get in comment sections, talking to my friends, or even my own experience, it seems like there is that invisible labor piece where like a husband gets sick and tech support can wait, but it's these and again, I'm gonna keep plugging Fair Play, not because I get a kickback on it, but because it is a life changing, the concepts in that book have changed how I think about things. um and there are those daily grind tasks, those tasks that have to be done on a schedule, and like you said, if you don't do them, it's gonna make your life hell. And when it seems like a lot of women, especially if they're a stay-at-home parent, they carry most of that and notice it. And I've said it before to even friends of mine, male friends of mine, who feel like they're good support partners, but they're like, well, I don't see it. I just don't see the mess or notice it. And I've said it's because you don't feel responsible for it.
Mm,
And they're like, but I'm responsible. Like, I'm a great partner, and they can be a great partner, but if they drop the ball, it's gonna get picked up. And I think
yeah,
that's the piece. It's like, I gotta run out the door. I can't get to all the dishes. And then you're gonna be home all day with those dirty dishes, and you have to
right,
function in the house with the mess left.
right.
And so if you're like, when I'm sick, I have a hard time resting despite having a very great division of labor at home. But in this world, I'm sure all of us right now, you have clients to deal with, you have things piling up. It's very hard to just turn off. And I think that
Absolutely.
burden at home for women, a lot, mostly women, it it doesn't stop. My kids still need things.
Right.
It just feels like I gotta get up and keep doing this.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we do? Like I was trying to problem solve it too, like how do you know, but my solution is still unconscious because my solution is, well, let me prepare for a sickness and then put notes on everything, and you know what I mean? And also like and sickness is kind of hard to prepare for. We don't know if I'm going to have an appendix or if I get COVID. Like COVID's more likely, but you know, like I'm not sure the of what the answer is. The other thing is, so I'm already vulnerable being sick, and let's say I don't have the healthiest relationship, and now my partner is using this time to act out against me. I'm just so helpless to even defend myself, you know? So I don't, I'm so nervous. I've got so much of the invisible contempt coming toward me. Um, I don't even care about any of the choice. Like, just please, could you just not be mad at me? You know, just could you please not be mad at me? So, I don't know what the solutions are. What comes up for you?
So for me, this was part of the combo with my husband around this is that I get really angry with him when he's sick.
I do the same thing. It's not good. I have a reason for it,
Uh-huh.
which I'll tell you in a minute. But same, continue.
And I I think like my mom and I have talked about this before. I don't know if she's in here watching. Sometimes she watches my stuff.
Hi, mom. Hi, Mars
But
mom.
she got frustrated at me when I was sick, and it was like when I was a teenager, I had some depressive bouts, and it would be really frustrating because she couldn't help me and she couldn't heal
Of
me.
course. Yes.
And so we had like major tension around that. And so now I carry some of that unknowingly, and I have to leave the situation when my kids or husband get sick, and I'm like I'm in a huff. It makes me very uncomfortable. And my husband on the flip side is like, whatever you need, I'll come home. What, like, so caring and sweet. And I'm just like, what do you need? Okay, you're not going to drink water? You need some Tylenol? You're complaining about your headache and you haven't taken anything yet? I'm so snippy. So I don't know. I don't know.
So I I have drilled mine down to a full trauma response, you know, like, so because he's my safe person, like I rely on him, you know, not just for stuff, but just to be okay because I need him to love me and be okay. And just like, and so I get upset. Like if he falls down, like I get upset because I'm like, what, watch where you're going. And it's just like, I'm like, but with it's the trauma response of like, please don't leave me. But it comes out really mean. My daughter, oh God, this is so embarrassing. But she was in high school when this happened. She had got an offender bender, and she called me immediately, you know, and I was talking to her, and she goes, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I'm like, I didn't know that I was yelling. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so scared for her, and it's just coming across of like I'm just a huge bitch. And so
Yeah.
everybody in my family knows to call my husband first, and then let him break the news to me, and then I will go, because not because I can't handle it or whatever, because I sound, what are we going to do? Where are you? I need to get there. Like, don't talk to me about like what. It's just not great. So part of my personal growth work is to work on that, is to find that pause. It's like, oh, it's going to be okay. How do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there is that frustration when somebody that you love is depressed, certainly. Like, why I want to do anything to make you better, and they're completely helpless because they can't.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's I mean, and over the last couple of years, that has been an ongoing conversation. in this house. And I try to talk to it. I'm in the work of doing some videos about that, because I get a lot of questions about like ADHD, different needs, chronic pain. How do you deal with all of those things when, especially if I'm saying something rigid, like you have to take the whole task? And some people are like, well, I'm literally not capable of that. So, or
Right.
you're, Laura, you're being very ableist with that language. And how do you adapt a household or care tasks when someone's down? How do you do that? And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of not over communication, but it's a ton of communication. Like you said, everyone knows to call your husband now. You have to adapt.
Yeah.
Adapt.
Yes, yes, yes. So I won't yell at people who are having an emergency. Like I
Right.
could never be a 911 responder. It's like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Why? um, I think when I watch you, just like I always know, like it's asterisk if the person is able to do these things. It's not, we're not talking about someone who is unable to do these things. And I think deep down, like we always know the difference. Do you know what I mean? Like we know the difference between when somebody is, like I can tell when my husband's really stressed and vice versa. And like I already know, like, he's in the middle of something and like he can't come get the dog or whatever, versus or he's upset about something and I just like let me do some of the labor and just keep her here and deal with it if it um versus I know you're not, it's Saturday. Like I
Right.
know I just saw you playing, what you know what I'm saying? Like I know that we know the difference. But the pickle is
Uh-huh.
like one of the things I say when a client gets sick, like in their life, is um sometimes they'll be sick and they'll come to session not catching, just pre-COVID. Um and I tell them, like, I really don't recommend it. I really don't recommend coming in because the work is so, it's work. Like doing your personal growth work is so difficult that when we're sick, we naturally regress. Like all of us naturally regress. It's so hard to be conscious when you're sick because maintaining consciousness, paying attention to dynamics takes energy. And when you're sick, you don't have energy. You don't have um the willpower reserves to let me pay attention to these dynamics. It's just like, look, my body's like, that's all cute, but I'm just trying to live, and so I'm not going to pay attention to that. So I think it's a real conundrum, and I can't wait for your book that solves all of this.
Yeah. That's ay ay ay. I would
What
love
should we
to. I would
do? Like, what should we do? I really don't know, and I can solve a
I
lot of problems.
yeah, it's hard. I when I first got on TikTok, I was just like, throwing stuff at the wall, like just telling things that I like. And
Yeah.
um, one thing that I didn't expect to get traction but got a ton of views was, I said, prior to having my kids, my mom came over and we got these bins and bags and we bought like a ton of fresh fruit. And I read this book called Mother Bees, and it's like recipes with really great vitamin rich things and dates and iron rich things. And we spent the entire day and we made like 50 bags full of smoothies. And I have a standing freezer in my basement, and we just lined the racks with awesome, delicious smoothies that my husband and I knew we liked the flavor of. And that saved my life postpartum because I would forget to eat or I'd be down. I'd be depleted. Um, but now it's a depression hack that when I'm sick or when I'm depressed or when I just can't get the will to feed myself anything other than bread, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that I have something I can feed my kids. I put a banana and milk in and I'm done. Um, and that goes back to what you were saying, which is you can care for yourself.
Yeah.
But something, this is I, I really would love to like write a book. This is my thought about the
Please.
value of
Please do.
community. And
Yes. Yes.
My mom showed up for me in that space. And then when I started getting depressed, my husband and I did this again together where
Beautiful.
we made those smoothies, but also like you said, like if your husband, not your husband or not my husband, but your friends who are upset with them when they're sick, you need to have somebody like you, the friend that they can bounce ideas off of. And I feel this feels a little crazy. Why is he mad at me? You need to be surrounded by people who are going to hold you up. Not you, it can't just begin and end in
Agree.
your household.
Agree. Agree. I think I absolutely love that idea. Like when you were saying, um, your mom did that. So one of the things that I teach my clients, which is something that I had to learn, like we can't get everything from one person. Like they might say, well, like I like my husband is amazing. He just doesn't um buy me flowers or something like that. Like I happen to like flowers and he just doesn't do that. He's amazing on all the other ways, and let's say that's true. Then I need to find somebody that will buy me flowers. Do you know what I mean? And that person might probably will be me, or just sign up to a subscription monthly or whatever. But people are like, I want all of that from the person, and that's an unrealistic expectation. And so, I really like Dan Savage, the sex advice columnist
Same.
and podcaster. Amazing. And you know how he says, we're all looking for the one, but there's not the one. There's a 0.79 that we round up to one. And
Yep.
so all we need to do is find that 21%. I can't do math.
It's enough. That's
Percent.
close enough.
Hopefully that's right. Thank you. That we need to find that from other people, and how wonderful that would be. So I think you nailed it. I think it may not be the solution that we wished for. Like we can't wave a magic wand and say you are instantly my nurse. That a little preparation ahead of time, which is an act of love for ourselves, and then having our community on speed dial.
Yeah. And my husband is here, but he and I both read this book, How We Show Up by Mia
Mm,
Birdsong. And she talked about something very interesting. I've always been in a relationship or had a roommate, and she talks about, it's more rare now, but a single woman that she knows who has diabetes. And at one point, she texted a friend and was like, "Hey, I'm having some issues with my blood sugar lately. Do you mind texting me in an hour to make sure I'm okay?" Um,
great, great.
and she, after that situation where her friend was very ill, they had a meeting, and they weren't in a romantic relationship, but they set up this support system where I think three or four people had her number, and then they would start when she was going through things with her health, checking on her. And if she wasn't responding, they would check on each other and be like, "Hey, have you heard from her?" And having this community safety net is great. Um, and she talks about, she had a good friend, and she had a very stressed relationship with this mother, but she sort of stood in as the surrogate parent when
Beautiful.
this mother couldn't take care of her kids. Um, and I see that, I don't know if you've seen that on this app or even in your work, but I saw a video of a mom who had been yelling at her 2-year-old, and the neighbor heard it and came over and was like, "You can't talk to a kid like that." And the mom goes, I can't. She's, you hear her at the end, she's so stressed. And the people in the comments are like, "You should call DCFS, you should take those kids away." And it makes me so sad as a mother who has support and a roof over my head and a partner in my home. And I have felt that desperation. And we don't have
Yes.
this community to step in and be like, "I'm going to make you meals. I'm going to take that kid off your hands for an hour while you take a walk." And I really think that if we can get together, even if we don't love each other as adults, like we can disagree. If we can start building that net again. or where it never was.
Absolutely. The appropriate response to a kid screaming in the grocery store is complete empathy for the parent. Complete empathy, because I have been there, you have, like, um, so a couple things come up for me about I think I now think part of self-care from this moment forward is the community that will care for me when I'm sick or down. And I'm an introvert, so it'll be a very small community, but mighty. Um, and and so to keep that healthy, it must be I just think it's like a team of mamas, a team of mommies. Like when the mommy team, like, could come over and mother me. Some of the people that I work with, they didn't get mothered. And so one of the things that I ask them to do when the time is right is to kind of look back over the history, look back through your life and see where people stepped in and mothered you, and there's always an answer. And sometimes the mothering came from a show, or the mothering came from the ocean, or the mothering came from music. But a lot of times could have come from a teacher. It could have, and one of my things, like, I let mothering in whenever, whenever I get it. Like, it's like, oh, there, I needed that, where it's just a gift and it's free and you don't have to worry, like, you're just being loved. And so that I think that we can build that team. And for me, the most important piece of it would be the reciprocity. So then
Yes.
when it's not my turn being sick, is that now I'm on the mommy team. And I talk a lot about the fawn trauma response, which is extreme people pleasing in order to survive. So a lot of people will want to be on the mommy team. A lot of people that have codependency, and that will probably be very uncomfortable with the receiving part. And so we have to learn how to go ahead and let ourselves be mothered.
That's what I was going to say. And that's the personal growth, the work that I do is, the white saviorism and the, wanting to care for other people and sacrificing myself and the martyrdom and I'm a public
Right,
school teacher and I'm a mom and it's a
right.
lot, it's a lot to undo. But how do you have any advice? How do I stop?
Look, look, like, there's a whole, I mean, we could talk about this every single day on TikTok for 8 complete hours. Um, I mean, obviously it's an ongoing process. And like, the TikTok I made the other day is like, the nightmare to learn that the way to learn how to ask for help is to have to ask for help. And that's a fucking nightmare. And no, thank you. I don't want that. I just wrote a book called The Irreverent Trust Guide, how to learn how, I always mess up my own subtitle, forgive me. Let's see, how to trust again after trauma fucked you up. And so we can learn the thing about the mommy group, or and maybe I shouldn't gender it, like, it just could be a parenting group,
Mhm.
um of loving people just coming to your bedside, or to your you get a gift card or something, just as Uber Eats or some shit. um it has to be safe people. We can't, true, one of the things that we can't heal, we can't ask for help for people that we know in the past couldn't or wouldn't help us, and so they're excluded, they've lost privileges, so it has to be safe people. And so one of the ways I learned to ask for help was having to go to treatment for my eating disorder. And then, we had to, well, I will tell you. So one day in treatment, they'd give us these assignments, individual assignments. And so one of the days, um, because I was a rock, I was an island, I don't need your help, thank you. Not interested, because of trust being broken and my heart being broken and felt betrayed. So it's a defense mechanism. We learned how to not ask for help to survive, like that. So it's not our fault, and yet when we realize it is our responsibility to heal that. And so I was told by the therapist I had to ask. I couldn't do anything on my own that day. And I was just crying all day long. Like I wasn't allowed to push the button for the elevator. I wasn't allowed to hold my purse. I wasn't allowed to hold my books. I wasn't allowed to get my food from the cafeteria. I wasn't allowed to do, and it was so painful because it just made me, for me, it was the ultimate invulnerability. Like it's just, and it just like, and I couldn't stop my mind from tallying, like, okay, I'll carry her books tomorrow, or okay,
Oh,
let me go, what can I do for her? Like she needs this, I should do that. But again, this is a trauma response. This is something that helped me survive, but now it has outlived its usefulness. One of the reasons I started talking about advanced, personal growth work and being an advanced bitch, what it means to be an advanced bitch. Like one of them on the Advanced Bitchifesto, thank you, is advanced bitches ask for help. And that came from, again, women aren't socialized to ask for help. Where, like, so I thought that I was really fucked up. And then I realized, like, oh, when I go to a normal place with just people that weren't necessarily in recovery, I would still hear women say, um, oh, I can't ask for help. I don't want to ask for help. I like giving. I don't like asking for help. And my button was pushed because I'm like, I don't have that privilege because I'm an addict and I have to learn how to ask for help to stay sober. And so what I realized is, like, people live their lives of, like, that's the end of the sentence. Oh, I don't ask for help. Moving on. That's their identity. And for me, it's like, no, 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 no. That's the beginning of the sentence. What we're trying to do is, like, I don't know how to ask for help, or I don't like asking for help, or it'll be a cold day in hell before I ask for help. And I'm going to figure out how.
I love that. That's
Yeah, it's a learned, we learned all of these things, like, but they saved our lives, and thank you. I appreciate that, because I'm here, you're here, we made it. And a person cannot live fully unless they do the receiving part of the relationship.
I think that's so great. I just yesterday clicked on your link and went to add your book to my read list. I'm really excited
Oh,
about that.
thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm
I'm
happy to send you a copy. The
yeah, and
print version comes out soon. I'm happy to send it to you.
I I have a little package for you, so we should trade.
Oh, that's so cute.
Um, so I'm reading for I cannot remember her name. Oh my gosh, I'm reading Set Boundaries, Find Peace right now, and there my brain exploded when I was putting the pieces together around domestic labor, because she talks about how, especially women, but a lot of people sacrifice their own time by not asking for help, like you said. So, how many minutes? And I connected it immediately to when I went to the hardware store. How many minutes did I waste walking around Home Depot because I didn't want to bother the employees who were talking to each other? And the next time I went straight up to someone. I was like, I'm looking for extension cords. They
That's
took me
it.
exactly there, and it made me, and then
That gives me
I,
chills.
yeah,
I'm serious. I because that is a powerful act that you did. It's going against our your nature, and that's how we learn how to do it. The thing that's most important to know about, so we think personal growth work is going to feel good. It feels like shit. Like it's so fucking uncomfortable, and we do it anyway because we're
yeah,
advanced.
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
her book is great, and that's why I can't
Will
wait
you
to
put
read yours.
all the names of the books in your comment section, or I don't know, like I don't know how you'll do it, but I'm like I need to read every single one of these books. Like I can't
I
wait.
have them. I have a bookshop.org like reading list. If you go
Beautiful.
in my,
Okay.
yeah, and I try
Awesome.
to add to it as, like, I just finished one, and I try to finish it before I add it. Sometimes I'm halfway through and I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody has to read this.
Yes.
But yeah, it's there.
You have the same response I do. It's like when I read a book, like what this one's on trauma recovery, and I'm just reading it and I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't. It's just so I love books so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Wow. This
I
has
know you
been
have,
incredible.
yeah, I'm so happy we got to talk, and I know you have something to do soon. So I have a 10 a.m. meeting too. I'm so
Okay,
glad we
perfect.
talked.
Me too. I have learned so much, and now I have I don't want to say to-do list, but I have an action plan. It's
Yeah.
really create that community, and have peace around that. I don't have to, build a whole list or whatever of how to take care of me when I don't feel good or whatever, but like sometimes I get migraines. And so one of my thoughts was like, let me put the ice packs in a visible place so that when I say, can you go to get an ice pack? Like, so it can be visible and I don't have to be mad. It's like, oh, it's in there, or I don't know where I put it. Like just little acts of self-love for myself. And then take the burden off of this, because I think it's a big ask. It's hard enough to change when we feel great
Yeah.
for both
Yeah.
parties. So I'm excited. I'm excited,
Yeah.
and I volunteer for tribute to be. I don't live near you, I don't think, but I volunteer for tribute to be on your support list.
Yes. I'm so glad. Now we are in community. I love it.
We're in
I love it so much.
community. Absolutely. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for doing this.
Thank
I feel
you.
so privileged that you just were so game and so excited. I feel like I'm taking away a good piece of learning. Like I'm going to use it in
Well,
my life. Thank you.
you've made my day, and
You're
I
awesome.
have learned so much from you already. I'm going to go out and I'm going to ask for help today.
Oh my God. Okay, I'll do it too. Oh, so uncomfortable. Okay. One thing we can
Awesome.
do is there's something called bookend. You probably know, but just in case someone else doesn't know, is when we do these new behaviors, we can bookend it with another person. So I can call a bitch and say like, "Hey, I'm gonna go ask for help in Home Depot, and I don't care if they're having a, talking to each other or whatever." And then when we do it, and then when we're done, we're like, "Oh my God, that was horrible. I hated every minute of it, but I did it." And then
I
we can
love
feel
that.
accountable. Yeah, and so it's a way that we can again build that community with each other to have all these successes. So this is so cool. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. And I'll just tell anybody that follows me, please follow her. She will blow your mind. She's incredible. Like this is new, amazing information. So like it's a big deal. And I do believe it is part of all of our personal growth.
Oh, that means so much to hear. I really appreciate it. Thank
You're
you
very
so much.
welcome. You're very
All
welcome.
right. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
You
I'm
too.
gonna
Talk to you later.
go hang up.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh, thank you all so much for being here. I'm so honored. Let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna scroll through the comments to see if anybody has a question. Because I have a few more minutes. So glad you liked this so much. Thank you. I thought it was too much. I really I had to kind of tone it. It's bigger, so I had to kind of tone it down. So thank you. I wish I could send this entire convo to my life. This is the story of my life. Yes, and okay, the last two times I tried to save a life, it was very unsuccessful. So I'm hoping that this recording will be available, and I can put it on my YouTube, so we can give a little link to our people. Yes. Do either of you offer training or consultations for other health and mental health professionals? I teach classes, so on my website, if you subscribe to my website, I'm giving a free class on how to play Advanced Bitches Bingo, which is a tool that I use to help. We need tools. Advanced Bitches use tools. That's on the Bitchifesto.
to stay conscious in all sorts of different ways. And I'm teaching a free class tomorrow, Saturday. And if you missed the free class, it'll be available on YouTube later, on how to play. And so anyway, but if you join the newsletter, you'll see my link in my bio. And my website is Advanced Bitches. I teach classes on CPTSD and the fawn trauma response and all the trauma responses. And so you can join my classes. Right now it's $25 a month, and that's for one class and one class a month. But in the future, my classes are going to be, and you also have access to the archive of all the past classes. And so I'm going to then have a premium, which that's going to be I'm going to have a premium membership, which will be $50 a month, and then you can have access to the archives. But if you join before I put the premium into action, you'll get grandfathered, or as I like to say, fairy godmothered in. And so, yeah, but I think a lot of mental health professionals are in my classes, so you might like those classes. Let's see if there's any. Oh, I love that you read my Bitchifesto and cried. That's so sweet. Same. I think I cried when I wrote it, because I realized I was gonna have to do all that shit. That's one of the conceits of all the shit that I do. It's like, one thing that's really important to me is integrity. And it's like, if I don't do this, I do it. If it's on there, I do it. Because how could I talk about it? Like, what a hypocrite I'd be if I don't do this shit. So anyway, okay, I am going to say goodbye. I love you. Thank you all so much. And I'm just so honored that you're here, and I love you, and you're incredible, as you know, and I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, love you. No, that's not the goodbye button. I'm so sorry. Oh, God, I hate all the awkward. Oh, okay. You're going to have to sit with me and watch me be awkward. Oh, I see a button. Hold on. Yes, we're going to end the video. Love you. Hope that was helpful. Bye.